Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
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 Good morning.
Good morning.
So, hi guys. My name is Abdul. I am your host for today, along with Manisha, the co-host. Hi, Manisha.
Hello, Abdul.
So, welcome to the Product Prism Podcast, where our mission is to shed light on the diverse facets of product development, empowering our audience to build impactful products. We envision a community of passionate product professionals from aspiring builders to seasoned leaders who leverage this platform to sharpen their skills, gain actionable insights, and foster a deeper understanding of the product management world. Join us on this journey as we explore real world examples and expert perspectives, transforming how we approach product management and ultimately create better products together. This podcast is brought to you by the Product Leaders Guild, which is a group of like minded individuals that are passionate about product and want to give back to the community. Join us on LinkedIn. The link will be in the description below. So, without further ado, over to you, Manisha. Let's take things off.
Thank you, Abdul. To kick things off, today's pilot episode is all about cultivating the product mindset from idea to reality before features, roadmaps, and metrics. Mindset is what sets great product and great product builders apart from the rest. So let's dive in. We have amazing set of guests, friends, colleagues with us. We have Santosh with us. Santosh is a seasoned professional with 19 years of experience in delivering multi-million dollar product and service opportunity through bid management and sales enablement. Santosh's expertise in navigating complex sales processes and crafting winning strategies offer a unique perspective on aligning product development with market need and business goal. Hi, Santosh. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Next with us is Ram. He is a highly experienced professional with over 25 years of experience in the industry, specializing in product management, marketing, and business development. Ram has a proven track record of driving product innovation and leading cross-functional teams to deliver exceptional results. His deep understanding of market dynamic and his customer-centric approach will shed light on transforming idea into successful products. Hi, Ram. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, hey Manisha and Abdul and everybody. Thank you for this show. Very happy to be here.
Right on.
We have with us Narendra, a distinguished product leader with extensive experience in product strategy, development, and management. Narendra is a startup mentor and he is himself a serial entrepreneur. He has a strong background in leading product initiative and driving growth through innovative solutions. His insight into fostering a product mindset within organization will be invaluable for our discussion. Hi, Narendra. Thank you for joining us as well.
Hi, Manisha. Thank you so much for the nice introduction. Thank you, Abdul, for having us here and to be able to share this panel with Ram and Santosh. It's exciting to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you. So without further ado, let's get started.
Absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier, the podcast is for anyone that is interested in product, right? Someone who's just getting their feet wet now, the seasoned leaders. So just to start off, right? What is exactly a product mindset? Maybe Ram, with your extensive experience in this field, right? What do you think is the product mindset? Why is it important for everyone? And of course, Santosh, Narendra, please feel free to chip in with your thoughts as well on this.
All of these years in building products, and I've come from a space where I've done the coding bit, then I moved into a customer deployment role, and then karma bit me twice. So moved into customer deployment role, and then I went into building products here. What I can say is that finally it's the basics that matter. You need to have the problem in mind, you need to have the solution in mind, and you need to have the clear customer in mind. So if you bring in all of these three together, customer focus, empathy, and iterative problem solving can get you to the right success level in that area. So that's my real mantra. It's been the way I would actually go about it. And it has led me towards success. Not following it has led me towards failure. So empirical in that sense, right? But yeah, guys, Santosh, from your experience from the outside, as well as Narendra, experience from the inside, please add your thoughts.
Very well thought, Ram, the way you just said it. What I feel is that user centricity has been the mantra in the market while setting up a product mindset. Along with being user-centric, one has to be product-centric and human-centric as well. Nowadays, when we talk to customers, it is the human being which is there behind the scenes who is actually taking decisions. What does the product owner actually want to do with the product? Who is he serving serving in the market? And what does the product solve as a problem in the market? So there is somebody who is human who is taking the decision, right? So more from user centricity, it is slowly moving towards being product owner centric kind of decisions. From bid management perspective and the sales strategies that we bring in and day out, we ask this question: why are you doing this? For what are you doing this? And how do you want us to help you in reaching that particular goal, right? So there is a lot of human centricity over there as well. So the product mindset is slowly drifting towards that, is what I understand from the conversations that I had with my customers recently. Narendra, what do you feel about it?
Thank you, Santosh. And adding to the amazing points that Ram and Santosh brought in, when we talk about product mindset, it is not just for the product management team. A product mindset is across the organization. As we start building products that go out in the world, it is very important that we bring product mindset to every team working in the organization. So, as rightly said, we should not just focus on what are we building, what is the outcome from the product. So it is very important that we have such mindset where we focus on the outcomes. What our product is going to deliver for our users and customers is what enhances our ability to address customer needs.
In simple terms, I'll say be in love with the problem. That's what I tell everybody. Be in love with the problem, not the solutions, because the solution is going to come up afterwards from that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's amazing, right? The coherence in all these three answers, different perspectives, but such similar. I'd love to hear from Manisha as well. So we all know Manisha is into project management. So she has like a holistic view of everything that happens in a product delivery, right? Manisha, what is the mindset shift that you're seeing, and why do you think it's important?
So I would echo with Narendra just mentioned that having a strong product mindset cannot be the job only for the product management team, and you are not doing the job. You have to understand you are creating an impact, you are changing lives, and the focus should definitely be customer centric. And as Santosh was also mentioning, that yes, we want to build great product, but who are we building this product for? Obviously customers. So customer centric thinking, ownership and accountability, ensuring that your data is correct, your OKRs are in place, you have amazing collaboration and cross-function with the cross-functional team, you have agility, you have transparency in communication. So I think at the end of the day, we all, like whether it is a project management team, somebody, a launch team, a deployment team, a GTM team, everybody should be a co-owner of the product rather than somebody who's doing a set of tasks. It's not a task, it's much bigger than that. So to align everyone to build a successful product, it's very important to hold the ownership of the piece of work that you are doing, because your piece of work is going to create a very big impact in long term. And that's exactly what product management is all about. And as we say that maybe a project management team member is solving a problem, but a product manager is identifying the problem, right? That's what, yeah. So I would like to ask a question from Narendra. Narendra, you have an entrepreneurship background. So from your experience in entrepreneurship, what do you think? How do you turn raw idea? What mindset it goes behind turning a raw idea into a viable product?
Thanks, Manisha. This is something that, as you mentioned, being a serial entrepreneur, I have failed in some of my entrepreneurial journey. So, which brought me to an understanding why, when I dissected why did I fail in some of these ventures, is when I realized that ideas are dime a dozen. There are so many ideas that come to you, and it is easy for you to fall in love with your ideas. A lot of us do. And we start thinking this is going to be a $1 billion idea. We are going to create a unicorn out of it. But then come to basics first. What you need to, whenever there is an idea that you want to build upon, experiment, be agile, take feedback, do experiments in various areas of the product, understand the customer, bring out we have a very nice concept or a framework that we have, which is called jobs to be done. Understand this, what the customer is trying to establish or want to achieve through this, by solving this problem, what are they going to gain out of it. So when you identify these things, you will be able to design a solution that is actually what customers are looking for, instead of you falling in love with your idea and building it and then realizing it doesn't have a market value. So that is what, so first principles thinking, which is very important. Go into it as if you don't know. Don't let your biases take over. Be very open to ideas, listen to people, listen to customers, talk to as many people, and verify if there is a problem that needs solution. If there is a solution that doesn't need it doesn't have an immediate need, there is no use building that solution. So it is very important to identify this part. Is the problem real, and is somebody willing to pay for that problem to be solved?
Thank you, Narendra, for being very honest. And I must say, there's no failure. There's only learning, there's only one way, and that's forward. And then we all have seen
course.
you grow and thrive as well.
So more often than not, right? As a software developer myself, some situations that I've always found myself in is we start to build out a feature, and it's so feature centric, it's so process centric that ultimately it just gets lost in translation because of ambiguity in language, or for whatever reason. Is that something that you guys have faced with your development teams? Okay, I see Ram smiling there, so I'm assuming that that's a yes. Ram loves software developers.
We all love
Software
software
developers
developers.
love Ram.
Also, it's a very two-way. It's not unrequited love. So, I mean, what I'm trying to say is, like, ever since I've employed this methodologies, right? Like, where I've started to think more about the problem the customer's facing, empathy, like, you guys mentioned, I just looked at it in a very different way. So now we're not developing features anymore that just stay on the app and no one uses it, right? I mean, we've all been there. We've just tried to have a checkbox tick, and that's what we've been trying to do. So, I mean, just this small shift has really helped me deliver software better, right? Like, because I've seen that a small movement of a button, like, just makes customers really happy, and customer delight is what we're going for. So, Santosh, probably this is for you specific because you're into bid management, sales, and all this stuff. Where have you seen this employed? Like, let's get into real life examples, guys. Let's not just be bookish about this. Tell us about how this has really helped you in your
Sure, Abdul. That is a fantastic question. And then before getting into answering this particular question, I just wanted to set the stage for you guys to understand so that you can actually connect all the dots. Now, there is a business model every company has, and they have a business deliverable at the end of the story. Now, there is a business development lifecycle which actually runs this particular show. At the start of the business development lifecycle, there is something called as opportunity assessment. Now, please remember this particular word called as deal shaping. So many large organizations, what they do is they do deal shaping before they actually start providing the product features or develop the product features or provide the services to the client. Now, they understand what the problem is. They understand the mindset of the product owner, and they also understand what exactly is the result out of which they would want to provide the services to. Now, while the deal shaping happens from the beginning to the end, there might have been a lot of whys that are answered, and these whys will align the particular product features to the particular result that the product owner is looking for, right? So it also helps in streamlining a lot of processes and reduce a lot of cost as well, ultimately. Now, there is a classic case that many of you might have already seen, but I would like to explain about a digital transformation project that we recently handled. And it is a complete organizational change management that needed to be fitted. Now, in this digital transformation program, we had to provide the features and along with the features, some service offerings as well.
Training.
Right? Now, the product team cannot be just bombarded with a lot of information. We'll do this and we'll do that. But instead, we actually took an approach where we sit with the product team and reframe the particular approach that we had to take or the kind of understanding that we had for the end result. So what had happened is that we had a mind shift. So we understood that there has to be a roadmap and the milestones had to be set in such a way that everything falls in place at the right time. Now, why I say milestone is at the right time in the roadmap is that we try to avoid any kind of reprioritization of tasks for the product owner. And this has actually helped in reducing the CAPEX and OPEX. And then ultimately what happened was that when we started putting our value proposition, which is tied to their GTBD. And there is something called as competitive pricing that
For
we
our
give.
audience, again, JTBD is
Yeah.
jobs to be done, right?
Jobs to be done, absolutely. So we give a competitive pricing after understanding how much effort is needed from our end, and then we put the competitive pricing in front of the client. Surprisingly, our conversation while we were negotiating the pricing was very easy. It was like a cakewalk. The reason why is that the amount of time that we actually spent with them in reframing the particular idea that they had gave them the confidence that we actually understood their problem, and what the kind of feature that we are going to help them develop or the services that are going to be attached to that, they were absolutely comfortable and confident that it can definitely be delivered within the timeline. So that's how we cracked the deal, and it was a global implementation. So we phased it out, and then we gave them the confidence in achieving the targets. So that's about it.
So let me add to what Santosh was sharing. Especially Santosh is a very good bid management expert, but I have had different experiences in my like overall corporate career building products. These bid managers are notorious, especially when it comes to when they see a big deal that needs to be cracked, and they come up with all the competitor features. They come up with like they want everything in our product which is already available in the competitors. So it becomes really, see, that makes sense because they want to bid something and close the deal. But then when you look at it, there are so many features that are available in our products that can actually make the use case to be achieved for the customers. So recently it was like a big deal was happening in our company, and then there was a list of things that the customer said, do you have it in your product? This was like a question. They built out a questionnaire and they said, what are you having in your product? But the sales, pre-sales and solution consulting team, they jumped in saying that we want all this. Can you give us this feature, this feature? Then I asked them, why is this feature required? What is the purpose? And then when they started trying to answer that question, then we realized it is nice to have, but not something that is very important. So this is what happens usually. Usually the features are driven by top downs in some of the companies, like where your leaders are driving your roadmap. Most of the time, the product management team is subservient to the ELT, executive leadership team. So features are mostly fitted as per the demands from the ELT team. So what you need to ask is this really important? So this again ties to our earlier discussion where we spoke about the product mindset. Okay, when you have a product mindset, there are some things that you can do, some things you don't want to do, some things that are important and needed now. So you will be able to identify those things if you have the right product mindset. That is why it is important for the whole organization to develop this product mindset.
Absolutely, Narendra. And Narendra is trying to stir the pot, but yeah, sales brings in money. So sales team are very important, and that sets my next question was exactly in alignment with what Narendra and Santosh have mentioned. So there is as like this, it's a little bit controversial, but Ram, it's mentioned, and it's most often than not, it's found that product team kind of listens more to the ELT, and then obviously there is a user and there is a product requirement and all that are being discussed. You being a very user-centric and customer-centric, you have experience and you have managed so many teams, and you are also focused on building large-scale impact by building large-scale products in itself. What is the biggest challenge you face in your day-to-day life when aligning diverse stakeholders' vision, product vision, for such large products?
It's a topic in itself. Okay, so
Yeah.
let me start by
The
saying that.
size says it all.
Yeah, true, exactly, right. The statistics are mind-boggling. There have been internal reports of what has happened in Google, like it's too big, too large, and make it a little more bureaucratic than needed there. It's a question of the size of the organization. Things get really slowed down when you're top heavy. There's too many, people claiming stake on certain things. Like I've seen situations like that in large organizations where somebody says, "I'm going to build this in 2026, so don't do it right now." And then other team does it, and is like, it's a mess in that point of view. So the stakeholder management really, really important from that standpoint there. Knowing, and it varies between B2C and B2B, to be honest with you. I'll talk more about B2B, just given my background, just because larger companies have this pressure and typically B2B is the bigger market there. So from the point of view of, knowing where to enter into, you need to be very clear about who is the customer, what is the role you're building it for. There is a possibility that there is some overlap, but if you can carve your niche, and you can clearly say that this is my customer and they have this particular need. And hey, by the way, here's a great attach story that we can actually build together. Attach is basically when I build a product and then there's a parallel BU, and we can say that I extend my sale discussion so that you can actually come in there. If that can be played out, that's worked out typically well in this context there. Reaching out early is also very useful. Stakeholder management, reaching out early, talking openly. Don't be covert in this area. I'm a believer in open communication. Don't be covert. Go ahead, talk it out, and be open to ideas. As much as you're a product manager and working with your teams, you're open to ideas. Even with stakeholders, you need to be open to ideas. Listen in for the context in that area. This will work whether you're building the moonshot kind of iPhone kind of products, or it can be also if you're like digging mine in your backyard with the edge strategy situation where you're trying to kind of add on additional features on top. This is going to be pretty important. But of course, guys, you are from large organizations. Any thoughts from your side also? Abdul, especially you've been on the development side. What's been your experience in this area?
So yeah, so when Manisha started saying that this is a controversial question, then you should expect a controversial answer. So, see, what I have experienced in the last couple of years of my career, it's almost a decade of working experience that I have now. It's that the focus always had been on productivity, right? Like with how you deliver things and all that. And it ultimately, I'm going to use the A word here on the podcast, agile. So,
Killing it, man.
so I mean, it's always been how do you measure this productivity? Is it just story points? But then recently, right, in the organizations that I've been a part of, currently part of, we've been measuring customer value as what we're delivering. It's not just stories. So it doesn't mean, an implementation that took me 16 story points across 2 sprints and, that gives me a sense of achievement. No. Even if it was something like I mentioned earlier, right? Moving of buttons, making it user friendly, allowing the customer to interact with the application much better in a much smoother way. That is what we've started measuring also. So the shift is tremendous, right? Like, but it will take time. It will take time. There are some ways that large organizations are set, like they're set in their ways. Maybe it's not something that will change overnight, but it is something. I mean, we are all on this podcast today. I mean, kicking off the episode series because we believe in the power of product. We're not saying that anything else is less important, but we're just saying this is as important, if not more. And that thinking has really shaped us.
Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt here, but I really wanted to add to what you are answering. I wanted to ask a question top of what you are answering is how uncomfortable are these changes for you? Because engineering team, they are wired in a certain way. And then comes someone and says that, no, I want this 2 inch wider because this is what my customer wants to see. And you're like, I don't know why I mean, it's fine. Like it works fine. But then we see innovation being driven a lot around user interface and user experience, design thinking and all that. So how uncomfortable are those conversation or those implementation for you? And if you have a team or something, how difficult is it for you to make the other person understand that this is what we are going to do and this is the intention behind it?
Yeah, so I'll give you a real life example, right? Again, I really believe in this word, in this concept. It's empathy. It's just empathy. I feel people are fairly reasonable if you show them enough evidence. So, for example, we had a client that just wasn't able to download reports, a fairly simple workflow, right? And we had a monitoring tool set up that allowed us to kind of understand and replay the experience that they were going with. Turns out that because they had so much data, they were such a big client, we hadn't really tested or gone through the process of simulating this experience for them. So I could just see the user clicking almost 100 times on the screen because they really needed that. They needed those reports to give it to their management via our tool and via the product. And I just realized if I was in that guy's shoes, I would be frustrated as hell. It's not about a filter. It's not about something reloading. I just think empathy is like the name of the game here. And to answer your question specifically, how averse are people to change? Just as much as people are averse to change anywhere, in any field, in any area. It's not easy, but the outcome of it is fairly well driven because I mean, as soon as we saw this, we showed it to product, we showed it to project management teams, and they're like, this is unacceptable. This is
One
totally unacceptable.
symptom you got to watch out for, and I've seen this happen a lot, is if the requests that are coming to you are funnily on a LIFO prioritization, meaning last in, first out, the last conversation you had became the important priority now, that is a wrong situation to be in. You got to question that. You got to question that. I like your question there, Manisha, because you said like that 2-inch widen.
Yeah.
The engineer in me a little bit died down, but they're still like, do you really want a 2-inch or do you want it as a customizable property? And if so, what should be the user experience in customizing it? Should the admin only get it? Should the user get it?
Yeah.
Should it be personal preference based? All these questions will come in there. These are the questions you got to throw back to the person who's asking you that question. I don't want to say sales, but I said it there, right? Sorry about that.
Beautiful.
Hi, Santosh.
Totally
Silent
take that.
from on your side, by the way.
Absolutely. I totally take that, Ram, but that
In
was
B2B, I'll be open. B2B
Yeah.
sales is my best pal, okay? So don't get me wrong. Please go
No,
ahead.
not at all. Not at all. I totally take that, and I accept what you actually said, because that is the kind of approach we take when we sit in front of the client and speak with them. In reality, be it a product or a service, when we speak to the customers, they want a consulting partner.
Absolutely.
They would want somebody to speak their language, understand their language, and understand their pain points and resolve it as quickly as possible. Now, they do not want to speak to somebody who can be mere vendors providing services.
Absolutely.
They want somebody who can consult or get consulted and be a strategic partner. And hence, my role also on a large basis, it is strategic partnerships, building strategic partnerships, right? So when we talk to them, we, again, as Abdul said, we show the empathy. Now, the mindset of the product, since it is the crux of the story today, it is just not one sales team who needs to bring this particular mindset.
Absolutely.
It has to go with the engineering team, the development, the finance guys, the legal team, everyone who has to be a consulting partner to the client. Now, there is a legal clause that is coming in between and say that, your product does not comply with these regulations. When are you going to do that? And somebody says that, I don't even know about it. And then the entire story is broken, right? Somebody had to stitch it earlier itself. That is why we always go with a consultative approach or a consulting approach. So when we talk and promise that, yes, this can also be done, or we promise the things which can definitely be delivered, but we also know that some things can be parked in the roadmap. People like to call it as a backlog. So
B word.
Yeah.
The most used word when you are talking to your customers is this backlog. Yes, this is in our backlog. This is in our roadmap.
Music to my ears as a developer, by the way. Let's raise this Jira, put it in the backlog.
Seasoned guys always know to set the right expectations. I think that's what Santosh is also talking about in terms of set the right expectations with the customer. And the question that comes back to me from a seasoned sales professional is like, when do you think it can get done reasonably? And then we can actually come back. That's the best conversation to have. Otherwise, it becomes like, hey, I want this versus this. It's like, man, I'll take this off. That becomes a bargaining kind of a discussion there. But while talking about feature overload,
Feature
reminder of
factories.
feature factories or feature overload. So I'm reminded of the Ravana joke. Like, you always think that having more heads is actually better, but what happens when you get a headache? Simple. All your 10 heads have headaches. So, that's something to keep in mind.
Yeah. And another point, as Ram just mentioned, when it goes to consulting approach, when we try to sell and when we try to ask, when can this be done? It's not just the product owner or the bid manager who is speaking this. It is the mind of the CXOs. They come and ask, I want to get the things done when they talk to us, right? And then when we go and talk to the executors along with us, we might have to tone it down a little further so that they understand this language. Because the CXOs are behind the sales guys and the product owners or the product managers, that I want the things to be done for the client because I want to solve their problem. And that solves our problem. So that is how the consulting approach comes into picture on a day-to-day basis.
We're almost at time. So we'll do one last question. I want to hear all your thoughts on this. Putting you on the spot here, but please feel free to share your thoughts on this. Narendra, we'll start with you. Why should everyone embrace the product mindset, and what are we, okay, let's put it this way. What are we doing wrong now? What needs to be corrected? Which is why the product mindset is important, right? Does that make sense, the question?
Right. Very sensible. Let me not say what is the problem, where we come from and where we are headed. That would be a better approach for
Yes.
building the product
Perfect.
mindset. So,
Perfect. Please go ahead.
where I'm talking from the Indian context, industry in India, how it has evolved. Initially, India was like a back-end processing unit for the Western MNCs. Okay, so this is how it started, and then we started taking over a lot of service projects. We started building a service mindset, and that is how large corporations got built in India. The big names you hear, they all built on this services project. So as we started seeing evolution started happening in the engineering part, innovation started happening on the engineering front. So we started seeing a lot of engineering ownership that was taken over by Indian people working in India. So this was how the natural transition happened. So now we are seeing a lot of products that are getting built in India. Like in the sense, the products are being built here for the world. Right now, we are at
Could
a
you
cusp
maybe
of...
name a few for our audience, Narendra? Like, what are the
See,
products that you're hinting towards?
we have a lot of products. One I would say that was locally built is the Zoho. You have heard of Zoho, which was built in India for the global market. So we are looking at that, and also a lot of MNCs, big MNCs, ServiceNow and companies like that. They have moved a lot of product management to India now. You see a lot of product management job openings that are coming up. This all indicates that we are at a cusp of emerging into a product driven technology innovation cycle. So this is where we have to move from the service mindset to the product mindset. A service mindset is something that we work particularly for one customer, one specific project. But here, when we move into product, we have to think as a larger market segment. What is your customer segment that you are working on? So it needs a change in your approach towards what you are doing. So this is where I see the reason I'm talking about this is when I see some people who come from services companies into our product companies, they have little bit of adjustment to make, because their approach, they have not seen a product approach in their work in their earlier organizations. So that is why product mindset becomes very important for us to cultivate as we move ahead.
Amazing.
Santosh, for you,
Amazing.
yeah, sorry, Santosh, for you, the same question. Just could you also explain? Could you also give us your favorite product from India while you
My
answer that?
favorite product from India that is being used globally is the human brain power that we have been sharing with the entire world from India, and nothing can beat that. And of course, there are several other examples just in terms of the products or the innovation that we did on Airbus that fascinates me. So there is a lot of technology that we see in Airbus, which nobody actually knew that was done in India. That is something very fascinating. And what I feel is that validation becomes an ongoing thing for every product. And that has to be a mindset for every product owner or whoever is into the product industry. Product industry means it is like everyone who is actually building products. So why I say validation is because the customer needs are changing on a daily basis. Yesterday, I had one need. Today, I just changed my mind and it moved on to something else. So somebody who might have actually validated my need yesterday might have actually built a product, but the feedback did not go to them, because of which the product failed in the market. So validation at the early stages, which is the discovery stage, there has to be an ongoing validation at the alpha and beta as well before going live. And when they are live, they are taking feedback loops to collect a lot of information for feature development again. So we know this particular drill, but the thing is, I've seen that a lot of companies are unable to spend a lot of time in validation, either because it is heavy CapEx and heavy OpEx. If we can actually find some kind of AI automation at these stages, which can help validation, then I think that particular mindset would improve towards the product. So That is my 2 cents.
Cool. Ram, your 2 cents on this?
Your closing thoughts, Ram. Everything relies on this.
Yeah.
Make it good.
So I'll call out this, guys. As product, you are always looking at a value versus effort kind of a story there. That's given. As Santosh said, working closely with end users, whether be it in the product or in the services area, that's going to be important. Start with the why, ask again and again and again. 5 whys usually help. Understand a little more. Be in love with the problem as product people. When you go to your engineering team, when you go to your actual execution team, talk to them about how they would like to do it. That's a different part. The solution part comes later there. Keep it in alignment with your strategy. That's actually pretty important there. You have a product strategy. You have a niche to target. Now, if you're consciously expanding the niche and you're going to a different one, let that go through the proper cycle there. So alignment with strategy is pretty important in that sense there. Keep in mind also, things like your user experience angle there. You can't, again, I like to say, though I said head before, now I say arms and legs. So, I've seen that happen to my own product. As a developer, I built it. And then I was like looking from it from outside. I was like, hey, it's grown too many arms and legs. And of course, finally, also done, there's a technical feasibility angle there. If your product cannot scale to meet this new need, don't put it into the product. Don't kill the rest of it with that, right? Think of what should be done differently in that area. So these are all important aspects to consider in your product journey to ensure that you are like carving it out and actually taking it forward. That's where I will land, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining. What an amazing pilot episode, Abdul. What an amazing pilot episode.
Amazing. Applause are in order.
Yes.
Good job, everybody.
Great job.
Yeah.
Great job, everyone.
It's great to see that almost everyone was on the same page. I mean, we talked about similar things. We talked about ownership. We talked about user experience. Engineering people talking about user experience. Amazing. We are already seeing the change that has been brought. So be in love with the product. I think that's a wrap. I guess that's a wrap, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Product Prism Podcast. We would love to hear more from you. What is your thought on what do you think is a product mindset? Any comment, any feedback, most welcome. We will add the link to the description, and you can feel free to suggest us new topic, what you want to hear from us. And please join our LinkedIn community of Product Leader Guild, and we'll be adding the link to that as well in the description. We got some cool stuff going on around product over there. So please stay tuned and do watch out this space for more. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Thank you.
Thanks. Good day, all. Take care.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.